Welcome back to the workshop. Not woodturning today. It's a new toy. Those who follow me know that I built a computer for the workshop for my YouTube channel recordings. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. Unfortunately, my wife's computer broke and she actually earns real money with hers. So she got that one. And I got, well, an old clunker. But bought myself a new computer. And today, I'm going to build it. So go over there and see what we're going to do. So I'm building on an ITX motherboard on a small case because my workshop isn't big and big cases just get in the way. There are problems with that. I'll talk about that in a bit. And I bought all the ingredients from scan.co.uk, which is my preferred supplier for the quality builds that I build for other people, i.e. gaming machines and so on and so forth. And this kind of is a gaming level motherboard, but obviously I'm just using it for OBS. I don't need to have gaming graphics cards and gaming this and gaming that, which is good because that keeps the price down. And I'm going with an AMD Ryzen processor, which is more than I need, but I just have to see about throttling it back to keep it running cooler. In order to keep the size down, I'm going with the NR200P Max V2 Cooler Master case, which is an ITX sized case, a bit bigger than some. It does come, this particular version does come with a power supply and the liquid cooling AIO system built in. So you've got radiators at the top, which isn't the best place, front is better, but radiators at the top. Intake at the bottom, and you've got to have the graphics card vertical, which means that you don't see much in it, but that's fine because I'm not going to put the glass front on. We'll show you that in a bit. I will put it on to show the video, but in real life I'm not going to. I've not unboxed this yet. I've only seen pictures of it. So let's get it out of the box and see what we've actually got here. So it's a very well packaged system, so I've got no concerns about delivery damage on it. It's all well done. I've taken one side panel off. They're toolless, you can just unclip them. And as this is in my workshop and it's going to need frequently opening and blowing the dust out of it, that's a good thing. It means I'm not fiddling with screws. Which also means I can put it in a less easy to access place and still maintain it. And you get a box with all the necessary components to connect it all up together. This is pretty usual with a motherboard. Bit extra in this one because, as I said, it does come with a built-in power supply and a built-in AIO cooler. And you have two sides. You can run with the glass side, which is, this one doesn't really do RGB. I mean, you can put RGB stuff in it, but it doesn't really do it on its own. Or you get the mesh side. This is probably what I'm going to run with. I will do some temperature checks between the two and check it out. Now this mesh, it would probably be okay for keeping pet hairs out of it to some extent, although people who've got pets and carpets, they always have dirty computers. There's nothing else you can do about it. I'm in a workshop, I'm making sawdust, it's going to get through there. I'm not going to worry about it too much. One of the reasons I wanted the liquid cooled is it gives me a large surface area, blowing the dust out of its way, and that will hopefully mitigate the fact that it's in a workshop environment. It certainly seemed to work last time I tried it. The AIO pump is the dual chamber cooler master pump, which has got a good reputation, so I've got no fears about that. As I said, most of this case is toolless. You simply pop the top out and lift off the side panels, and the same with the top panel. Yeah, it's just clipped in the back here, lifted up, and you can take the bottom off as well on this, which I will do. This one does require you to undo a screw, just one screw, and then it clips off. And then the graphics card panel. This has 4 screws in it, opens outwards, lifted up. So I've now got a fairly open chassis to work with. It does come apart further than this. You can take these rails off, get the radiator out. I'm going to try and work around that and not do that. So the next job is to put memory, hard disk and CPU into the case. Now, so I've gone for the AMD CPU. It'll be more than I need. And I've gone for this Kioxia 1 terabyte PCIe 5 NVMe because it was cheap. Now, I could have gone for a slower one, it would have been fine for what I want to do. But on scan.co.uk, they have today only offers, and this was cheaper than a fairly average drive, so I bought this one. And I've gone for slower memory than you can run with this processor. I don't need the speed, I'm not running games on it, and it's considerably cheaper. There's a guy who got into the computer business when a 5 megabyte hard disk drive was 5.5 inch wide and about 4 inch deep. It still amazes me that there's a terabyte on there, and it's very fast, much faster than the older stuff. Incredible. And usually this is done with a screw at either end. Normally you've only got the one screw and a clip in, but this one's got a screw either end. You've got your thermal tape on here, so you must remember to take this plastic piece off when you put it back together. Look for the slot, make sure everything's lined up properly. Insert it and it drops down on there. Put the heat sink on the back the right way around, and we should be good to go. Next job, CPU. So you release this spring clip. You flip open the cover. Now, these things are very delicate. Lots of microscopic pins on this, and this has got to be a perfect connection. It's also got to be the right way around. You see there's an arrow here. There's a corresponding arrow here. They've got to line up. There's also a couple of notches which will help make sure you get everything in the right way around, like so. You then pull the cover down, leaving the plastic cover on at this stage. Bring down the spring clip, clamp it in place, and that will pop out the cover. The cover has got to be kept because if you ever need to return this motherboard for a problem, you must use the cover. So don't dispose of the cover. I'm using Corsair Vengeance RAM. It is DDR5, which is probably overkill, but hey. So just offer it up to the slot, make sure everything looks in the right place. Now it's the right way around, everything clicks into place. Nice solid click. Hopefully I'm still out of the way of the camera. Yeah. And again, nice solid click. Memory is definitely home. At this stage I like to look around the motherboard, find out where stuff is, because once it's inside the case it's much harder to see everything. All the cables are bundled up in these Velcro tabs. So we're going to undo that and see what we've got, and see what we're going to use and where it's got to be. So we have two 4-pin CPU powers. They've got to be up here, and they will both be used on this because it's an 8-pin connector. We have a dual PCIe connector, SATA connector, which I'm not going to be using, so I'm going to take that one out. The less cables that are in, the more air that can flow. So if you don't need it, take it out. This one's obviously the 24-pin motherboard connector. And we've got a second PCIe connector. I've only got one PCIe slot on this board, so that's of no use to me. So I might as well take the second one out. These are front panel connectors. That's your USB 3 and your USB C. Well, both USB 3, but you know what I mean. USB 3A, USB C. And we should have, it's a front panel, so that'll be your on switch and your lights. Should be an audio here somewhere as well. That'll be that one. High definition audio. So they're all coming to about here. So they stay down there out of the way. That's going to be going in here, so that can stay here out of the way. That one's going there. So the only ones I want to look at changing the route of is these two. So we'll see if we can get them at the back of the case. Okay, there's not much in the way to consider in the way of headers and things to be accessed. Get that out of the way. Most people I see put the board in, screw it down, and then struggle to get these cables on. I prefer to put the cables on before I screw it down. But we come to the fun bit, our first peel. So we take the plastic off of there. So our hologram that we'll never see again looks nice. And we'll take the plastic off of the back panel. Always something that's nice to do. We then line everything up, keeping that out of the way. And I like to put my cables on here right now, because it's much easier now than it is later. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera because it's down in. But if I tip it up a bit, you might see it better. So there's the connector block. You can feel there's a clip there, which these clips have got to go onto, so that gives you directionality. One. But those two cables are on. The other one is the two top fans. Again, it's coming down and through, and it's a bit awkward later on. That's keyed, and you've got pump and a fan header here. So this one goes on the fan header, obviously. Again, much easier to do when the camera's not on you. So those are in. Now I need to get the motherboard in place and fixed to the case, which is quite simple. Right now from the back panel. There's only 4 screws on Mini-ITX. A slightly magnetic screwdriver is handy in this case, especially when you've got big gripy fingers like mine. Hey, there's only 4 screws. Doing a proper ATX, or full size ATX rather. I can't remember if it was 8 or 9. 9, I think. They don't need to be done tight, they just need to be done secure. Fingertip pressure. Motherboard's in. Now we need to connect the front panel and the 24 pin. The front panel is going to be easier to do now. The 24 pin is going to be a whole wedge of cables over here. We don't want that. Now I hate these USB 3.0, 3.2 A socket connectors. They're a pig to get in. They're always difficult to maneuver. And the pins are very easily bent. I've done it once. Spent more time straightening that pin than I did building a motherboard. When it goes in, it clicks. Unless you've got good eyesight, you're going to struggle with this. There's a front panel connector. And behind it is a USB 2 connector. So you can get an extra 2 USB 2s. And I might do that, because USB is the whole purpose of this build. And then we have the USB-C connector. I'm looking forward to the day where there's a dozen of these on my motherboard, not one at the back and one at the front. That's on. Now the 24 pin. That needs to go up here. And there's a bit of room there to tie it up and get it out of the way. There's 2 SATA connectors here. I'm not putting any SATA drives into this build, so I'm not going to use them. But if you're going to put SATA drives in, you need to consider getting those connectors connected up as well. And that just goes in with a nice satisfying click. And then we just need to tidy those cables up a little bit. Now we are ready for the all-important thermal compound. Master-Gel Pro is what's supplied. And I'm going to use it. Sort of a small pea size in the middle. I quite like them when they come with little templates, but this one doesn't. Always remember to take this plastic off, otherwise your thermal is not going to be very thermal. And it goes in this way around, and I like to connect this cable before I put it in place, because my fingers are big and clunky and it is difficult being me. Even from here, I'm going to need the tweezers. One thing that's difficult to get at, I just think it could be worse. It could be an apple. So take them down evenly, finger tight. And they supply you with this riser cable to allow your graphics to go 90 degrees to where it was. So then we've got to install this end. I like to do it at this stage because it's just easier. So at this stage I'm going to put this rail back on. It's literally just 4 screws. I only took it off for the camera's purposes. So I'm going to stick that back on. My next job is to install the graphics card to the back bracket. Now I've only got an old, it's come out of another machine, an RTX 2060. It's sufficient for OBS. And it fits in as if it was inside a case, but it's not. Simply take these two out. Or 3 if you've got a wider card. And that goes through the slots in the bottom there. And it connects at the top with the screws. The same screws that came out. Now for my purposes, this particular layout with a 2 fan as opposed to a 3 fan, full length, I think it improves matters for me because it gives me more airflow. If I had the 3 fan on there, then it would pick up the entire bottom tray basically. But this will help with the cooling, I hope. So once I've done that, I simply get these slots lined up again, put it all in place, and screw it all down. 4 screws, same as we took out. There is a fan header at the bottom of this motherboard, and you could put a fan here. I might do. It does say slimline, but because my card isn't going all the way across, I think I can get away with any fan. So we have a computer built. Put some of the panels back on. Now I did utilize the other 2 USB 2 ports, and I've come out through spare back panel bit. And I was thinking, why? Come on, motherboard manufacturers. USB 2 is decades old. Give us USB 3, A header, yes, because of cable compatibility. But this one has got now 2 at the front, 3, 4, 5 USB 3 Type A's, 2 USB for 3 Type B's, Type C's. And now it's got, that's all USB 2. This is that. So I've now got 6 USB 2s. Why? Why aren't they all USB 3s? Get on with it. The back is all nice and neat and tidy. I will button that up. Actually, it doesn't matter which way any of these cases go. They are both the same. These side panels rather, which is rather neat. And it's unlucky to put this side panel on before you fire it up, so I won't put this one on just yet. I'll stick it back on pause while I find a monitor and stuff. First attempt at a boot. Fans are spinning. Hooray! Boot. 32 gig of memory. And we're good. Okay, so I didn't film installing it on its shelf because the shelf is I had to move it and fit it there, and I couldn't film it because I took the old computer away and had nothing to film with. So until this one was software loaded and up and running, I had no OBS. So you just have to imagine that I lifted it up, put it on a shelf and plugged all the cables in. That's all I did. Installed Windows, obviously. It's Windows 11. Fairly straightforward to install Windows. Just follow the prompts. I installed OBS and Touch Portal. I use Touch Portal to control my system. So if I hit to portrait cam, it goes onto that camera. And this view is on my mobile cam, and you can see the portrait cam there. But the monitors are just on TV wall brackets, so they open and let me get out the computer. I can twist this one around and get at the back. Normally they sit like so. And I'm still at the lathe. I can see the monitor in front of me. That's what I've got OBS on. If I'm doing live streaming or either with Terry or Brian, I'll have the chat up here and the video up here, so I can see what you guys are saying in the chat. And as I said, Touch Portal is what I use, but Stream Deck, remote keyboard gives you easy access to the OBS functions. That's about it, really. As I said, it wasn't a Woodturning video, computer build. I do those from time to time. I just noticed my computer's still on a wire, so it's not down flat, but I can move that in a minute. I'm not moving it now because I'm filming. I have no intake fan on this one. It has a passive intake because the graphics card is blowing out. Well, the graphics card does have an intake, a small intake. So it's sucking air in about here, and then blowing it out about here from the graphics card. And then it's blowing out from the CPU cooler through the radiator at the top. As I said at the beginning of the video, front radiators tend to work better than top ones, but it works well enough. My temperatures are good. You can see my temperature. The CPU is running at 41 degrees centigrade, which is fine. I went for the lower powered Ryzen because it uses 65 watt. It doesn't get quite as hot as the flat out fast one. And as I said, this is more than adequate for what I want to do. The T-Sensor one, that's actually the graphics card temperature. So the graphics card's at 35, absolutely fine. And then you've got your fan speeds. Chassis fan 1, it isn't connected. There's no fan on that. There's no intake fan as such. So yeah, it runs well. That's my computer built. It's fast, small. That's it. Something different. Hope you enjoyed it. And cheers for now.